Hi, this is Shane Starr on a beautiful Southern California December morning. Just got back from church and did our ENFJ video, and I have an opportunity to finish these up right now, so I'm going to take it. Um, Today is our 16th out of 16 videos of a series entitled Your Own Personal Jesus, when we consider Jesus as each MBTI type. It stands to reason that if Jesus was divine and the perfect human being, then in theory he should embody the best of all 16 types. And some have been easier than others, and I saved what I think is the hottest take and best take for last. So here's why I think there's a great argument to be made that Jesus was indeed an ESFJ. So, number one, similar to the argument I made for ENFJ, Jesus was very social. Far from being a quiet hermit or recluse out in the wilderness somewhere in a cave all by himself. Jesus regularly engaged in social interaction with friends, family, followers, as well as strangers, people from different cultures, politicians, even his critics he spent time with. It's clear that Jesus loved people, and although he did spend certain times being alone, those were bookends to his general behavior of being around people all the time. His miracles, for instance, they always take place in public places, celebrations. Compare that to someone. Okay, compare it to myself. How often do I go to weddings? Never. How often do I go to parties? Never. How often do I go to, anything besides Sunday morning church? I'm either at work or at home. And there's plenty of people who would argue extroversion for me, even though I personally wouldn't. But then we're calling Jesus an introvert. Socially speaking, at the very least, socially speaking, Jesus was an extrovert. It's clear from the records we have in the Gospels. His whole mission was social in nature, feeding people, healing people, talking to troubled people. It was all about other people, Hey, there's a squirrel over there. Too bad I can't turn it around. Maybe I will.
There he is.
Okay. All right. So back to my argument. I think I've made it clear from my perspective, at least, that Jesus was very social. Second, and this, I think your view of Jesus depends on whether you only know Jesus from the movies or you know Jesus from what you've been taught a long time ago, much forgotten in Sunday school. But the contemporary picture of Jesus, especially the Catholic / Jesuit view of Jesus, which is the grounding of my renewed faith in Christianity, that specific brand of Catholicism, made or demonstrated by the Jesuits. Jesus was actually more grounded in everyday reality, practical realities. He wasn't this pie in the sky hippie philosopher just walking around smelling the flowers and stuff. He was getting his hands dirty, touching people with leprosy to heal them, healing crippled people, having his teachings engaged. He's not talking about things like outer world very often. It's mostly things concerning practical realities like relationships, taxes, cooking, celebrations, helping the poor. Jesus, interestingly enough, we always talk about faith or lack of faith. When Jesus does talk about the final judgment, he doesn't say, well, you didn't believe A, B, and C, and you got the the relationship between the Holy Spirit and me and the Father are wrong. No, he doesn't say any of that. What he says is, you visited me when I was poor. You visited me when I was sick. You fed me when I was hungry. And you other guys, you didn't. There it is, right there. The essence of Christianity. It's not about these philosophical platitude, pie in the sky things. Jesus routinely and consistently stuck to practical, grounded realities, and that was the basis of salvation, more so than some difficult to comprehend or capture notion of spirit that nobody gets. So that's my argument for probably the S part in the formula. Last but not least, Jesus was extremely empathetic and popular with people. Picture Jesus as a 21st century guy doing what he did, in the context of contemporary society. The first thing a typologist would notice about him is strong FE. Above introverted intuition. Sorry, INFJ people, that's just my take. You can disagree if you want. The first thing any typologist would notice is, look, this guy's got FE off the charts. That narrows it down to two types. That's my take. Jesus was indeed like a first century rock star, preaching, healing, connecting with people in a variety of social contexts, always in a social context, aiming for love, forgiveness, and harmony. There's nothing more FE than all that, what I just said. And here's my bonus point. What type would you call someone who helps others for a living, around people all the time, uses concrete examples in all his teaching and preaching, who is passionate about his work, grounded and structured as an individual? Okay, moreover, what type would you call a guy in his 30s with a crew of 12 or at least 11 close friends who hang around him all the time? I don't know anyone with that many friends to get together at parties or anything. Maybe there's some celebrities that have that. I don't know. But, to me, it's ESFJ. That's my argument. I think a strong case can be made. Last but not least, and here's my second bonus point. When we talk of polar elements, and again, I think it's almost sacrilegious to even mention this in the context of the divine Son of God, but in the context of a typing conversation and in the context of the historical records we have, what would you say his polar element was? To me, it's, and this is a hot take, I know a lot of people say, oh, no way. At least from a socionics perspective, I would say it's time. It's introverted intuition. Why would I say this? I would say because no matter what kind of logical challenges his critics came up with, Jesus had an answer. When he had to do something physically, he was able to get it done. He was a carpenter, He didn't have any trouble with feeling, so that's off the board. I don't think his polar element could be thinking or feeling, really, and I don't think it was extroverted sensing either. That leaves either polar SI, which I made a case for in terms of him never hardly resting, but there are records that indicate he did take time away when he needed to do that, or polar NI. Now, why would I say polar NI in terms of time? These are the only questions Jesus did not have a direct answer for. Whenever they told him, what about this, what about that, Jesus just came up with answers. When they asked him about time, however, he said it's not for you to know the day or time. In other words, I'm not sure about the time. There's some of you here who won't taste death until the Holy Spirit comes, and that's been interpreted in different ways. But he was always elusive when it came to time, never giving like a solid, it'll happen in this year. This is when this will happen. That's when that'll happen. That was the only category that he wasn't, like rock solid with a specific answer for. And so if we have to pick a polar element, I would say it's that, and that goes with an ESFJ typing. That's all I got for today. I'll wrap this up in a final video tomorrow, with the highlights and lowlights and final thoughts. But it comes down to me. I think ISFP is up there, ISFJ is up there, INFJ has to be considered since that's what everyone else types Jesus as. But to me, the finalists are ENFJ and ESFJ, and I just made my case for ESFJ. That's it for now. See you soon.